Hello everyone. In this tutorial, I will show you how to play an audio file in Unity and, more importantly, how I resolved an issue related to overlapping audio playback from an audio source. Before we proceed, please note that the solution presented in the video is just the one I adopted for this problem, but there are likely other and potentially better solutions out there, so don't take the information provided here as the definitive approach. The tutorial was created using Unity 2022. Specifically, I want to play a Footsteps audio file, sourced from the first Prince of Persia game by Jordan Mechner, which was my first PC gaming experience, when the character moves within the scene. This may seem like a straightforward task, but as we will discover, it conceals a minor challenge. Before we go on, I remind you that, as it happens with most of my tutorials, the text version of this video tutorial is available for free download at the link provided in the description. To play the Footsteps audio, the first step is to attach an audio source object to the character. Within this object, we will define the specific audio file to be played and configure other playback properties. An audio source is a component that needs to be added to an object within the scene. This could be the character, a door, a ball, or even an invisible object useful for playing an audio file when the character enters a specific room or gets near a particular item. For the audio to be heard by the main camera, the camera needs to have an active audio listener component. In new Unity projects, the main camera typically comes with an active audio listener component by default, as it is assumed that users will want to hear audio files. If the default audio listener is missing, it can be added through the inspector of the main camera object. In my scenario, the audio file needs to be linked to the character. Within my project, there is a player object that serves as the parent of the main camera. The movement script is associated with a player object, while the camera is equipped with a script to enable looking around. Consequently, I will attach an audio source component to the player object. Upon accessing the tab of the newly created component, you will immediately see the audio clip field, which is initially set to none. Additionally, there is a checkbox labeled Play on Awake that is selected by default. This option plays the audio file when the game starts, which can be beneficial in certain scenarios. However, it isn't necessary for our current use case, so I will deselect it. Importing an audio clip into the project is quite straightforward. Simply drag the audio file from a file browser window into the Project tab or choose it from your disk through the Assets, Import New Asset window. Unity is compatible with various audio formats such as MP3, and it will display a musical note icon alongside the corresponding element within the project. As you can see, my project already contains several audio files intended for playback at different moments. Among these files, the one we're specifically interested in is called Prince of Persia Walk. To proceed, I first select the player in the hierarchy. Next, I click and hold the button down on the Prince of Persia Walk asset in the project. Finally, I drag this element into the audio clip box of the audio source component associated with the player. As previously mentioned, the sound should be played when the character moves. To achieve this, I will open the script responsible for handling the character's movement and insert the required code. First, I create an audio source variable and initialize it within the start function by associating it with the player's audio source component. To do this, I write the following code. Private audio source, player audio source, and inside the start function, player audio source equals get component audio source. I also need to create an audio clip variable to associate with the audio file that needs to be played. I'll call this variable my audio clip and use the serialize field attribute because I want it to be visible in the inspector. After saving the script file, the next step will be to drag the Prince of Persia walk asset into the my audio clip field of the script within the inspector. Immediately following the definition of player audio source, I write the following line of code. Serialize field, private audio clip my audio clip. After saving the script, I return to the Unity editor and proceed to drag the Prince of Persia walk asset into the my audio clip field of the script as previously described. At the moment, the audio is not being played. Within the update function of the script, there are some instructions to detect the user's key presses, which control the character's movement. Specifically, when the user moves the character, the value of input.getAxis for horizontal and vertical, which I have renamed X and Y for convenience, can be either -1 or 1, depending on the direction. In this case, I could write the following code. If mathfabs x equals 1 or mathfabs z equals 1. Player audio source dot play one shot me audio clip. And try to run the game. However, doing so would be a significant mistake because Unity would play the audio file during every frame of the game. The result doesn't improve if we merely move the play one shot function inside a coroutine and add a 1-second delay command. Yield return new wait for seconds 1. The issue remains that update will call the coroutine at every frame, leading us back to the same error. The coroutine, therefore, is not necessary. Instead, we need to implement a simple check on the audio source. Play the audio only if the audio source is not already playing it. This can be done within the update function by writing the following code inside the if block that checks the values of X and Y. If not, player audio source dot is playing. Player audio source dot play one shot my audio clip. Now we can save the script, start running the game, and observe, or better, listen to the result. Before concluding this tutorial, I'd like to share a thought. The audio clip field of the audio source component can, of course, be modified via script. This means you can use this audio source to play a standard footsteps sound file, but also replace the audio clip during the game with another one if, for example, the character is walking on gravel on the shoreline or other surfaces which can be identified using colliders. Additionally, if your character can fly, you can disable the audio source so that no sound is played. Well, that's all for this tutorial. I hope it was helpful. See you soon.